Hi everyone, this is Sarah Webb, Associate Editor of Landscape Management Magazine. I'm joined by Bob Drost, owner of Drost Landscape, and Dale Drier, General Manager of Drost Landscape in Petoskey, Michigan. And they're here to talk to me a little bit about what their situation has been with their company so far, and what the situation looks like in the state of Michigan. Bob and Dale, as a refresher, can you give us a little bit of a rundown of how the pandemic has affected your workplace, especially since the last time that we talked?
Well, I can just tell you that I've had to ask a lot more of my management team than I already was asking, which was a lot. They have spent countless hours preparing not only just items that would be needed to make sure that we're as clean and sanitary as possible, meaning sprays and wipes and gloves and eye protection and face masks and things of that nature. It goes way beyond that. It's the management part. It's the who's allowed in the office, how many people can ride in a vehicle, allowing them to drive to job sites, paying them use of their vehicles to get to job sites, and making sure that they understand all the things that go with that. And it's just been a huge, Dale can explain this much better, but I couldn't be more proud of my people and how they have came together as a group, and it's just huge. I got to say that they've done a fantastic job, and that I think we'll come through this and be even stronger than we were going into it. So I'm very proud of them.
Okay, see, and can you give us a reminder on when landscaping was shut down in Michigan, and then when it was deemed that it could be essential again?
I can remember the day that they gave us the approval to return to work really well. Couldn't remember very well the actual day that they shut us down, but we had the approval to return to work at about 10 o'clock on last week, Friday. So Dale, what was the actual day that they shut us down?
It was around the early part of March, like the first week of March for us, because they shut the schools down. I believe it was on the 6th was the last day of school for the elementary school. So it was like the 9th or 13th when we got the news that the governor was gonna start shutting things down on our part. So I think maybe the 16th was where we were kind of juggling all of the what ifs as far as COVID goes.
Gotcha. So almost a little over a month of being completely shut down then.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said that announcement that you were able to be essential again was on April 24th at about 10 p.m. last Friday at 10 p.m.
I believe she came on at about 9 o'clock, because I just remember around the 10 o'clock hour, I got my first phone call from a client going, "When do we go to work?" I don't know if who was more excited, clients, employees, or myself, but we respect what she said, and that's why we've done so much planning. We could have started out to work Monday, but we chose today as our first day back, and of course, it's raining like crazy, so that didn't work too well. But there was that much organization needed to take place before you could go out, and we could be rest assured that we were doing things correctly for our employees, for our clients, and respecting what the governor had allowed us to do. And so out of great respect, and I'm thrilled that, and it was tough for me to listen to it, but when people like Dale explained it to me, I totally got that it would take that much time to be prepared and ready.
Okay, and can you, the two of you, kind of walk me through what the past couple of days of prepping and making sure that everything is ready for employees so that they're safe when they came back to work today?
We started off last week on, I think it was Thursday, just with trying to put a plan together for startup in early May. A lot of things were already here. We had the cleaning supplies that Bob talked about. We had plenty of PPEs available that were already in stock or were ordered for spring startup. So some of the things that we were lacking in that period were, the masks, just some coverings for the face. And then we had some volunteers that jumped in and provided some handmade items, which are really nice, to be honest with you. And so, really everything came together mid last week as far as preparation goes. And now it's just the implementation process. We found that we were having a few hiccups with our touchless thermometers based on the temperatures that we have outside, and the readings weren't accurate. So we have to make space inside of our office, like right in the door, where people can come in and be tested so the temperatures are accurate. We've done a lot of things internally for preparing the documentation. We made an acquisition of some software over the winter months, and thankfully that software has really allowed us to put more information on it than what it was designed for, and that's been a blessing. So I think technology-wise, we're utilizing a lot of things to be able to avoid the paper, the exchanging of different documents, and it's working out great. So we're probably luckier than a lot of other companies right now, just because of the collaboration of minds. Our team is, each department has a team member that we meet on Thursdays and discuss what needs to happen. And, it's taken all of us with our ideas and thoughts to think about things outside the box. And it's worked out really well for us.
Bob, you spoke on this a little bit already, but what have your overall, what have your clients' responses and your employees' responses been to being able to go back to work?
Well, I'll start out with clients. They were very understanding, and I'll tell you why is because we weren't giving them an excuse that we had generated inside of Drost. It's a national excuse. We've never been in this before. None of us really have, and it's nothing that 6 months ago, if you'd have told me, I'd think that we were having to be planning for. But they were all very understanding. A couple called quickly because we were partially through their jobs last fall, and when we shut them down because of weather, and so they have patiently been waiting because the weather's been good here for probably in excess of 30 days. And Dale will tell you that we probably would have had the earliest start, one of the top 5 earliest starts we've had in the 29 years of Drost. And this time we were delayed because of something that was out of our control. So they were very understanding. Employee-wise, this was the problem that we had, is that I would have thought the light switch goes on, they'd all come back to work. Well, the problem is that both spouses are home with their kids because they're out of school, and you can't, daycares are closed, schools are closed. So we had a whole new problem. What do they do with their kids? And so we have patiently and understandably been waiting for employees to come back. And a lot of our employees have young kids, as they figure out what they're going to do, because they can't take the kids to the grandparents because they're the most vulnerable. So it's a huge, huge deal. And I once someone like Dale explains to me why we've got to wait, it all makes sense. So it's an interesting situation, and gladly I can say that it really looks like we'll still have a dynamite year. I just hope and pray that the discussion that I keep hearing about this ugly thing rearing its head a second time, if it does, it's not as bad as what they say it is. And so it concerns all of us, and we're taking it very seriously.
Okay, see, and kind of building off of that, you mentioned that because you're able to kind of open a little bit earlier than you originally expected with the shutdown, how do you think that earlier reopening will affect your company long term? Do you expect to have the year that you originally thought you were going to have back in March and April?
Well, I'll let Dale answer his part. As an owner, I'll tell you that I'm excited. We've taken some great phone calls. We've got great work now. And yes, I think we'll have as good a year. And like I said, I think that Dale, without even knowing it, and my management team had put some things in place just so that we could be more conscientious of the era that we're going into. By that, I mean allowing people to work remotely because of whatever the situation, as long as they could still do their job. We were very open to that. So Dale made sure that we had anything we needed so that we could interface and work with them and they could be in touch with clients. So when this happened, I have to say, we were in very good shape well, that's why when you suggested doing this Zoom meeting, we were into that because we're getting very used to it.
I would like to add that so much of the communication that we've been doing has been over communicated. The reality is, all through the last 4 to 5 weeks, our team members, our division managers, department managers have been talking to the staff. They've been making random phone calls to say, hey, how you doing? Have you gotten your unemployment? Are you having any issues at home? The design department was one that, was still able to work remotely. And, there's been a lot of communication with the team members to make sure that, the pipeline is still healthy and moving forward. So I would say most businesses that are up with technology and trending towards a leading company already had a lot of the processes in place. And we were very fortunate that over the course of the last 2 or 3 years, we've put a lot of things in place that allow employees to work from home. Because we do have family members, whether it's children or spouse or extended family, that sometimes need the extra help. And so we were already working on some of those things that made it just a success on our part when all of a sudden we had to, react more than planned. And our reaction was, hey, we already have these processes in place and we're going to be really well set up. Yeah, there's been a few things along the way that we had to adapt to, but so far everything has really went well. And Bob, he hit it right on the nail on the head. We could have had an extra month of services. When you think of a landscape company, our business is really centered around 8 months of production. And when you lose a month anywhere, it's stretching people thin because you're adding hours in the day or the month to be able to get that work done. So we're very fortunate with what we have as a workload on top of, I would say most, if not all, of our maintenance clients have signed their contracts. Some have paid in advance. And so we're sitting in a place where a lot of companies may not, because of how they've planned their business versus how we're planning our business. So, again, a lot of things have really boiled down to the preparedness that we've developed over the years. And we've had to juggle snowstorms and adverse weather. So, there really wasn't a huge concern. If it went much beyond April, then we would have started saying, oh gosh, maybe we need to do a bit more planning. But for our organization, we've adapted to things that have come up in the past. So I think we're really well set.
Okay, see, and when we talked last time, I think you guys were kind of considering applying for the PPE or the SBA loan. Did you end up going into that or not needing to?
We did apply only because, as a business, we wanted to make sure that we had that insurance policy, as I told some of our staff. And it was a very easy process from my perspective. We work with a lender that we've partnered with a lot of times over the years. A couple of people in the banking industry that are familiar names to us. And our accountants were hands-on. Our HR manager was right there to give the data to them. So I think it went really smooth, and we extended out the length of time. I think they had 10 days from the time that it was approved to accepting the funds, which thankfully was in the pay period that we're getting ready to roll into. So it's working out really well from our perspective based on that.
I would just say that, I think that for once we're all teeing up from the same location. I think we still have not the clearest of roads ahead of us, but I think that you've seen as a nation that we've came together, and I think it's another example of great American ingenuity and drive that will put us through this. And you know, a lot of people have really sacrificed a lot, and you can really see the fruits of that labor. And so we're excited to get going. I never guessed 6 months ago I'd be sitting here, Sarah, having this interview with you, talking about this topic. But here we are. We've done a good job with it. At the end of the day, I still consider everyone here at Drost very blessed.
What I see most is that we did things about 6 years ago that started to develop a better culture and organization from the standpoint of, you know, everything ran through Bob to create what we had then, and he's allowed our team to become a better organization. And I think, you know, what we've done as a whole has built up to this moment, allowing some of his leadership team to help make decisions and build for what we have. And it would be an injustice if we didn't point out our peer groups that we belong to, and how much support we have as an organization from them, and you know, some of the guidance that Jeffrey Scott and his leadership has provided over the years as well. It's all in preparation for something like this. And I think that we as a group have all been able to sleep at night because we know that we have a good plan in place, and we've worked hard to allow that collaboration to build what we have right now, and the processes and procedures and all the documentation. So it's, you know, it has to do with what as an owner Bob has allowed us to do, and I think he has done a great job with mentoring us on his experiences and helping to build that camaraderie.
And then I want to thank both of you for taking the time this afternoon to chat with me, and the best of luck to you as you kind of get things started this week.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. Very much appreciated.